So it is just the internal maneuvers within the council, not the membership.
Yeah.
It is just this.
Or within the body itself.
No. It's the bosses themselves who are among themselves.
Yeah.
It's like grasshoppers that have been put in a bottle.
Yeah.
They, regardless of who was friendly to who, once the heads knock, they want to bite each other's necks off. So it has largely, in my view, little to do with the membership. It is those within the council itself who need to find a way of working together, despite the different philosophies that they may espouse in how to behave when you hold a public office.
Yeah.
Yes.
John Norgem.
Yes, sir.
Yes, all this drama at ULS, and you know how many months? It's just a couple of months in.
2 months.
So,
well, my comment is one. And Newton's third law says for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you bang someone's table, if you slap them, you can expect that at some point there's going to be some kind of counter-attack. So I think this is not unexpected. It was bound to happen.
Really?
And definitely, I mean, you can't insult people left, right, and center, and then you think at some point you won't get pushback. How they do it, we can examine and determine: is it legal? Should they have given more time? Do they have sound reasons for doing what they did? Did they do it properly? Was it grounded in law? Did the letter have typos? All these things. Why was it drafted on such a night? Were they drunk? You know, all these things we can.
you didn't say the deal.
But the standard
yeah, so that's my sense about this, and I hope that because you see, you can campaign by banging the table, but after you've taken leadership, it's very hard to manage.
You should start campaigning. You should start working.
It's very hard to manage people who are who believe in themselves like lawyers by continuing to bang tables. You must find a way to bring people together, even those that didn't vote for you. That would mean making compromises, definitely. So it means you may not achieve 100% of your agenda, maybe 60%, but that would be good enough, you know. Yeah.
As Sydney Asubo here says, the lawyers in my circles, they seem to have accepted him and like him. So maybe the fight is within themselves, as Sydney has pointed out.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a reason why the lawyers voted for him, in spite of his the way he behaves. Maybe we feel that the system needs to be shocked a bit for it to behave better. So I think he needs not to, because he seems to concentrate on the form as opposed to the substance now, how you dress and so on. But what are those things, the lawyers who voted for him, what are those things within the judiciary, within the DPP's office that they want to change? Not necessarily insulting the person of the DPP, but how can you engage with her to ensure that those things are reformed? Yeah.
Lydia, you're another lawyer in the studio today. On the attempted coup, the response to the coup, and the call for an extraordinary general meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we are getting direction now, because there's an extraordinary general assembly on the 17th, and the Chief Justice has also communicated to all courts not to give leave to whoever wants to attend the assembly, which is also, I think, it's a good signal that they recognize the new executive, and when they want to do something, they are given leeway, because CJ also communicated that on the 17th of December, all lawyers who would like to attend the General Assembly, all courts should take note. And I think that is the direction we want to see. And in all this communication about the General Assembly, there hasn't been any vulgar language or abuse of anybody. And I think that's what we want, because we want meetings to happen. There's a time when we wanted a meeting and there was a court injunction, and we're not happy, because the best way to resolve issues, to provide leadership, is call meetings and to consult. So time when there was a court injunction on a genuine formal meeting, I think it took us back. But now we see that when a meeting is being called, it's being supported by the CJ, by every person I've met, every law I've met is rescheduling their calendar to attend the 17th of December. So I think that on the 17th of December, a lot of these other issues will be resolved. Where I sit myself, I would be happy with the new leadership to deliver, to unclog a lot of the challenges we've been having in the judicial system, but respectively. Be firm, be courageous. I think Sema, one thing I admire about him is that he's firm and courageous. He has overcome fear, and that's very important for a leader. And but it shouldn't go with the cost of personal attacks. I think that's where the difference is. So far, we're happy.
If Georgia said that some people may wish to sue to stop the meeting, but if CJ has already said please clear the day, then
I've seen a circular from the CJ's office, the registrar, communicating to all courts in Uganda to put on to recognize 17th as an AGM for the law council. And I think that's a very good relationship. That has gone without any problem. But I want to request all our land colleagues who are speaking for the executive to be able to differentiate what the rest of the leadership, the membership wants. Really, we want to get our issues resolved, but in a manner that is decorum. We don't mind about what Semakade stands for, but it should be encouraged that now that he's the president of the law council, he should remember to accommodate the less activists. I don't know whether I'm communicating. We appreciate. For me, I am all for Semakade, because he has courage and fear to confront what I think many people cannot confront. Right. We have very serious issues which have been entrenched that we know that with his courage and fear.
At least there's two of you in the studio now.
He can confront. But there is that bit that I'm very uncomfortable with. The personal attacks I don't subscribe to. Yeah. But there is a minimum, and what I'm going to tell my brother is, please, you people are near him, encourage him to accommodate this other group of people who do not think that he should carry along that very aggressive language.
You saw the notice, the letter or statement he wrote to the CJ. Now that one was very clean and purposeful. You'd agree?
The one of being straight and yes, even this one about Dr. Besigye and other matters of court. That's what we want to see done. Because we've not seen many people being firm and courageous to confront some of the status quo, which we think he can do and he has been doing. I don't know whether Council, I'm clear on that one.
Sure. Yes. And you take it from there, George. I don't know what to call it. He says, when I met you, and a lot of people had fallen out with him because he met with him, but then he says, you asked me to be straight, so here I am straight.
We like the straightness and the language, for example, with the CJ, but this other one, no, we don't. I don't particularly.
Yes, go ahead, George.
Of course, as a leader, President Isaac will have to contend with those two issues. What Honorable Lydia and Sydney are saying, that one, you accommodate people who don't agree with that approach or who are not used to your approach, while also not losing track of his style. So as a leader, of course, that is a tide you'll have to run. Over time, he will stretch because we didn't no one expected him to be a different person from who he has always been known to be. But yes, when you become a leader, there are some contestations, and I think that is something that we'll have to grapple with, because we don't want to give out outside forces a chance, because what we are seeing now, that the attempted coup plotters were backing, hoping for possibly some sort of support. There was a lot of rumors on social media on Sunday night that, by tomorrow morning the office will be besieged. I think that is the style that people have come to use to the KCCA Miss Jennifer Msi style. So, of course, it all turned out that they're just rumors. The same rumors came on the eve of the AGM, which brought in President Isaac, saying, people are going to be arrested at Munyonyo, there's heavy deployment. So that is the cloud that is hanging over some of the membership, that sometimes possibly give venom to the coup plotters, that maybe there will be some sort of action, and then we shall get recognition, and then the other people. Actually, when I saw Mr. Munabi on a media house on Monday morning, was saying those who are challenging our coup should be the ones to go to court. But of course, like every failed coup, did get the traction that maybe they hoped, especially from the membership, like Sydney said.
But speculations happen. You know what happened in Mnyonyo? It was smooth and all through the way. You had your day. So this communication with the CJ, and even that picture that went viral when they were like seated on the table for dinner, I think the frankness is what some section of the legal fraternity is asking for. And I think it works. Why is it okay for the CJ and it's not okay for the other stakeholders in the system? Why is it choosing the weaker? Has it chosen which ones to hit with those venomous language, and then the other ones for, because the CJ is all well. Even this call for 17th of December is so neat.
Actually, I think it works for both, because Isaac has had run-ins with the CJ before.
And that's what we are asking for.
A two-page in the newspapers, which was titled that the Supreme Court has an Owini-Dolo problem. And of course, was almost raising the same issues that raised in the letter, that the law churning out of matters in the Constitutional and the Supreme Court, the issues of Supreme Court not hearing constitutional appeals. Those are matters which have been decided by the Constitutional Court, and then they go to Supreme Court, we get a stay and we don't get hearing those matters about 2-3 years ago. And I was sometime early in the middle of this year, I was in the Supreme Court where Isaac was having a matter, and the opposite lawyer sought to raise that against him, saying, my Lord Chief Justice, this gentleman has abused you before. And then the CJ, of course, had to say, no, it doesn't matter, you can criticize me, but you don't have to insult me. So I think it's
I think even the show can end. The issue about insults, but also criticism, there are two different things. We want to see firmness, criticism, no fear, but please, no insults. That's the issue.
There's a senior lawyer in the studio. He has been patiently watching George Musi. Most welcome to the Capital Gang, Honorable Abdul Katuntu.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm late. I had a problem with some...
But also the traffic is incredible today.
Sure.
Listeners, avoid Busega on the bypass. People are going there innocently, but it's terrible.
Especially those traveling to the airport. They might miss their flight.
Indeed. So welcome to Gang. I should ask a direct question. So who are you advising? Were you advising the plotters, or did you advise the response to the plotters? To be first direct question.
Well, in this particular case, I'm in self-isolation, like a COVID patient.
Self-isolation.
So I'm just an ordinary member of the law society,
watching on
senior member that. Having been born earlier and also went to law school earlier
than Musi. And
so,
were you an advisor to the letter to the Chief Justice, because that was very well written?
Absolutely. Not that absolutely I was the advisor, but the letter was well written.
Yeah.
Our training is words, our tools of trade. You can either mispresent your client's case because of the words you use. Actually, you can even jeopardize it because of the words you use. Whether in terms of drafting or even when you are just speaking, whether you're presenting a case in court or you're even doing pleadings. I've seen lawyers lose very good case because of bad pleadings, just drafting. So to our colleagues who are coming in this position of leadership, as many of us move out, you need to take that into account. That how are you going to present your case, either to the general membership or even to the public, and they're going to mistake it, because perception sometimes is more important than reality. You know, what people perceive to be. So if you decide to say, well, I'll try to be vulgar, other people switch off, definitely switch off, and then the biggest point is lost in that. Your choice of words and so on. I read President Semakade's letter. This time I could see a maturity in it, because he had some legitimate points he was raising. They are not lost out. The language was strong but acceptable. This thing, his language, for example, against when he was campaigning, against the Attorney General, then this one against the DPP, really, they were so repulsive to many people, including me. I'm like, oh my God, what is this going on? I just want my leader to be my leader such that he presents my case. But, he was caught between the campaign rhetoric and then the office now he was holding. How does he move on there? Because a section of his constituents had gotten excited with that sort of approach. And yet, is he going to deliver with that approach on the objectives as set out by a statute? Or it is a show? Oscar, you can decide to shout at people or we're talking at them, or you can talk to them. So that's very, very important. Are you ready to talk at them, or you are ready to talk to them so that they listen? And it's okay, where is the problem? Sometimes it's a difference of opinion and so on. Let's go to the letter, Oscar. What was he raising in that letter to the CJ? One, about delayed judgments. Because it is not explainable, whether legally or even by common sense, that a decision would be not made in the Supreme Court for 4 years. I mean, how do you explain it, whether to the lawyers or even to the litigants? And because you are talking about rights of individuals, of litigants, but at the same time, the Supreme Court is not a trial court. It's supposed to be setting standards for the entire judiciary. So if you delay the decision, you delay the standards. This issue about, for example, the recent one of the court martial. Trial civilians in the court martial. I mean, the Supreme Court should come out as soon as yesterday to guide the country. Because why do they allow us to indulge in a debate which they can close now? Because there is no apparent court after their decision. But now the whole country has been debating this for years and years. And we have judges seated in that place. We pay every month, and these days we pay quite handsomely.
They have a performance rate of less than 10%.
And yes, there are things which cannot be explained. But the good thing about Chief Justice Winyidolo is, however much you are harsh to him, he will listen. He will listen. That one, you can criticize him. He has a strong shock absorbers. He does that. What he can't tolerate is the insult. That one he can also withdraw. But the Chief Justice Odola I've known for years, even before he became a judge, he's a strong character. He can absorb criticism. But he cannot tolerate insults. So you don't have to insult him. Okay. And insulting, and that's maybe the biggest problem with some people, a section of those who call themselves activists. They think that is the way to do it, and I think it's not correct.
The Sydney, you know, Lydia and I once shared working activity teaching English language and literature. And you know, insults are acceptable. Maybe there's a difference between insults and vulgarity. That's, as Abdul has pointed out. But I've gone into Google here, and I've even checked 55 Shakespearean insults and put downs. Quite a few. Sometimes even Abdul, I know he insults people, but in very good English or very good Lusoga. So,
Thank you, Oscar. Well,
I think don't mistake a humor to be an insult. Sometimes I'm humorous.
Yes, the
sometimes
insults.
you can insult.
Yeah, insults take many forms. It could be through artistic depictions, it could be through use of words, it could be through hand gestures and many ways. So, yes, that is that.
John says here, if you go around insulting people, be sure they will insult you back.
But I think you make a very important distinction between insults and vulgarity. Because being vulgar is not tolerated anywhere in the world. There's no culture that will accept being vulgar, except maybe in certain settings that are private, but certainly not in public discourse. But apart from the
Baganda have a community called the Abaswes.
Yes, apart from the use of the vulgar words and the rest, there's also the disruptive activities. Because, for example, now, because of the confusion at the council, we have lost an opportunity to elect a member to the East African Law Society, because we're supposed to, Uganda is supposed to nominate a youth representative, but because the coup plotters had a certain nomination process, when these other ones reclaimed their seat, they threw it out and things out. And now the East African Law Society Election Committee has had to suspend the entire process. Now, those are the kinds of things we don't want to see as a society. Whatever you do should not harm the well-being of the society, of the council, and all its membership. For me, that's the cardinal thing. The way people choose to. This says those who elected Mr. Semekade knew him from way before the elections. So maybe he's under pressure to maintain the same standard, because some people already say when he went to see our Chief Justice, they were saying he's, instead of banging the table,
he's eating on the table.
He's now eating on the table. He has betrayed them. Others already calling him a hypocrite. So maybe he's under pressure but like we all say, the way you campaign is not necessarily how you administer, especially public body.
Once you have been elected,
yes,
you are not only a president of those who elected you, you're a president of even those who so you need to do a balancing act.
To balance. That's why members accepted, even those who did not like the accept and said this is the fact. There will be other elections in 1 year's time. We may be put forward a better case. But then when they see certain things happening, they're forced to come out of the cocoons and say, but wait a minute, this is not how. When former presidents come forward to say, look, this is not how. Because remember, one of the first activities that the council undertakes once new members have been elected is to call the former presidents to come and talk. Some kind of induction of the entire council. That was done. Then a few weeks later, the former presidents come and issue a very strong statement condemning the manner in which the society is being run. So that is a pointer to which people are not happy with the manner. So it's not about the elections, it's just about how the society is now being run. You cannot have a situation within it's just over a month when there is a division. So like our senior Katuntu says,
they sound so sharp.
You not only serve those who are elected. In fact, in many cases, some people even go out of their way to accommodate those who did not vote for them, however few or many they might be. Yes.
John Walugembe, do you think all this drama at Uganda Law Society will affect business in Uganda, business in Kampala?
Yeah, definitely, because if you look at the backlog in courts of law, I personally have an issue in a court in Hoima there, and it's now 3 years. You know, you go, the magistrate is not there, this is not there. So those things have to change because it affects the cost of doing business, it affects the business environment, and one of the key indicators of a conducive business environment is the resolution of commercial disputes. And to the extent that they take long and you have convoluted court processes, it imposes a cost. You know, it imposes a cost on businesses, and I think the earlier that they are resolved, the better. And for me,